Hey, astronauts, welcome to the Digital Galaxy Podcast. I'm your pilot, Jack, filling in for Justin.
And I'm your co-pilot Paul. Buckle up because today in episode 11, we're discussing the race to buy TikTok. The information in this episode comes from Microsoft, BuzzFeed, the New York Times, and CNN Business. Jack, can you fill the crew in on what's been happening to TikTok since we talked last in episode 5?
Absolutely. So, since we last discussed TikTok, President Trump delivered an executive order to ban TikTok because of national security concerns. Now, he has given American companies a deadline of September 15th, 2020 to purchase the company from ByteDance. ByteDance, for those who don't know, is the Chinese owned company that currently runs and owns TikTok.
Mhm. Yeah, so what companies are interested in buying TikTok?
There are a few companies that are interested. However, Microsoft was the first company that was considered to purchase the entire entity. In fact, in an interview with the Associated Press on August 3rd, President Trump said, quote, "I don't mind if it's Microsoft or anybody else, a big company, a secure company, a very large American company buys it." End quote.
Yeah, because even Microsoft has stated on their official corporate blog that they are attempting to move quickly. And quote, during this process, Microsoft looks forward to continuing dialogue with the United States government, including with the president. End quote. Jack, can you let the crew know what other companies may think of this merger?
Yeah, so other companies such as Facebook have been worried about the precedent that banning TikTok may set. Even though Mark Zuckerberg agrees that there are legitimate national security concerns, he is
Mhm.
worried about the outcome. According to an interview with BuzzFeed, quote, "I just think a really bad long-term precedent that it needs to be handled with the utmost care and gravity, whatever the solution is," Zuckerberg said. And in addition, he also said that I'm really worried. It could very well have long term consequences in other countries around the world. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
really, it's a race right now to for these large companies such as Microsoft, Facebook, Apple,
Mhm.
things like that. Anyone I mean, Apple just reached a $2 trillion valuation
Wow. Yeah.
last week. So, I mean, it's literally all these big companies that are looking to purchase TikTok.
Mhm. Yeah, the worry about this merger too is bothersome to a lot of people, especially since it's the U.S. government that's kind of brokering the deal, if you will.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's also it's kind of weird how the U.S. government works, and nor am
Mm,
I professional on it, but I do know that the U.S. government does set out sometimes that where they regulate monopolies. For example, the highest example of this is like your local power supplier, right? So it's not
hmm.
like you have five different power suppliers in your town. The
Nope, just one.
your town government allows that monopoly to happen, and so I think we're kind of seeing something similar to this, just because it's
Hmm.
social media is such a very lucrative industry right now. It's very important for national security in order for the government to kind of step in to make sure us as citizens are protected, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's being implied that the United States government should get a portion of the sale. According to an article from CNN, President Trump stated whether it's Microsoft or somebody else, or if it's the Chinese, what the price is, the United States could and should get a very large percentage of that price because we're making it possible. So different
Yeah.
aspect of the government and what we've seen.
Right, because I even think that Zuckerberg said regarding Facebook that even if they themselves are not a monopoly because companies such as TikTok exist.
Yeah.
But if it'd be interesting, if somehow Facebook does acquire it, how that's gonna, boil down, if you will. But in that same CNN article, the president had this to say, quote, TikTok is a tremendous success, but a big portion of it is in this country, end quote. So basically the president is saying that, the 100 million United States users of TikTok are kind of responsible for the popularity of the app. So our country should reap the benefits, if it does get sold to a US company.
Yeah, I mean, and this kind of deal is really unheard of.
Hmm.
But I mean, it from a outsider perspective, it does somewhat make sense because those 100 million users are United States
Hmm.
citizens, and of which, if the money, if some of the money does go to the U.S. government, then that those citizens may actually reap the benefits of that through different, federally run programs, things like that. But really, the
Right.
president's requirement that some of the money from the deal goes to the U.S. Treasury doesn't really have a basis in any antitrust law. And according to
Hmm.
Gene Kilman, a former chief counsel for the U.S. Department of Justice Antitrust Division, and currently a senior advisor to the policy group Public Knowledge.
Yeah, Kimmelman admits that the deal is odd. Quoting him, "This is quite unusual. This is out of the norm. It's actually quite hard to understand what the president is actually talking about here. It's not unheard of for transaction to have broader geopolitical implications between countries, but it's quite remarkable to think about some kind of money being on the table in connection with this transaction." End quote.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how this boils down, and who ends up owning TikTok in September.
Mhm.
It's kind of like a race car race right now. It's head to head,
Yeah, I
and
mean, it's only a few weeks away, technically,
yeah.
the deadline.
So
So
it'll also
maybe
be
we'll do
interesting to
another
see how the
episode.
yeah it'll be interesting to see how the U.S. government kind of stays involved with the sale as well.
Absolutely. So, in summary, the president originally tried to ban the Chinese owned social media company TikTok because of national security concerns. He has opened the option for American companies to purchase the company. There are concerns about the precedent this may set for global companies in the future and if the government should be brokering these kinds of business mergers.
Don't forget to follow our channels on Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. You can also find this episode in written form on our website, digitalgalaxypodcast.com. This episode was created by Fora Social, a social media app where you are in charge of your data and community. Check it out at forasocial.com. Thanks for coming along on our journey. Till next time.